Hello everyone, and welcome to the Island Grown Initiative Community Garden. Today we're in my garden plot, and we're going to look at a few different amendments that you can add to your soil to help improve the overall productivity of your garden and the health of your soil. I have a few different things today that I wanted to show you. One is composted goat manure, and this is a combination of wood chips that were used for their bedding and the goat manure. It sat and rot for a little while, which is an important process to help kill some of the pathogens that are in the manure. I also have some horse manure, again mixed in with bedding. You see some shavings in here, and again that is sat and rotted for a little while. I also have seaweed taken from the beach. That is a really good source of mulch for the garden, and also nutrients and trace minerals. And lastly, in this bed right here, I've spread some chicken manure, and you can see it's mixed in with, again, the bedding, which is shredded paper. This is hot manure though. This has not been composted. And so I collected it out of the chicken coop and I spread it over this bed. If you're going to do that with fresh, non-rotted manure, you have to give it at least 4 months for it to break down and for some of those pathogens to die. So this is the perfect time to pull that out of your animal's coop or housing situation and spread it on the ground, so that by June, when you're ready to plant, everything is broken down. So in this bed, I spread the manure and I covered it with a layer of the composted goat manure so that it can break down over the winter. And then the last thing I have to show everyone is this organic lobster compost from Coast of Maine. And as you can see, this is very broken down. There are still some traces of wood chips, but generally this is nice and soft and ready to go into your garden, and easy to pick up at any of the island's garden centers. Spearmint I'm really excited about. This was my sweet potato bed, and I've harvested all of the potatoes. You can see we've had a frost, so the vines have started to die back. I've pulled all of the vines out of the ground, and I'm leaving them on the surface of the soil so that they can break down and return their nutrients into the ground. And they have a lot of months over the winter until next year to do that. So I'm going to leave them here. They're starting to die, and I'm going to cover them with the composted goat manure. And by spring, the worms and decomposers will get to work and help to break this down, and I will have a nice bed to plant my spring crops into. A really great way to add more nutrients into your soil and help suppress weeds is to grow cover crops. So in the fall, you plant them and let them grow as tall as you can. This is oats. So this was a very densely weedy area, and I left it tarped all summer. And then I pulled the tarp up, I put down about 1 inch of composted goat manure, and then I spread these oat seeds and covered them with straw. And as you can see, they're growing very well. And they will winter kill, which means that when it gets really cold and we get consistent freezing temperatures, they will die. I'll leave them. Their roots will stay in the ground, which will help to hold in the soil. And then in the spring, I will tarp this area again to finish killing off any of the weeds and any of the oats that survived. And then we can get ready by spreading some compost and planting directly into this ground, which will be full of lots of nutrients for the plants. And this is an example of a cover crop that I like to use. It's a combination of oats and peas. And if you want to put these in your garden, it's a really good time to do it now. And as it gets a little bit more into November and becomes more cold, they'll have trouble growing. But there are things like rye that you can plant as it gets colder. And you can also do a quick cover crop in the spring before you plant out your main crops. Thank you for joining us today at the Island Grown Initiative Community Garden. Our 3 options this fall for adding nutrients back into your garden are composted or hot manure, store-bought compost, and cover crops. And any one of those that you choose, or a combination of those, will help to get your garden ready for next year so that you have a successful gardening season.
If you are interested in your own community garden plot, email Emily at igimv.org to sign up.